Hi, I'm back for week 2 of my October 2024 horror movie knitting project. And if you don't know what that is, week 1 explained the project, yarn, the pattern, the plan, everything. So go back and watch that if you want to know more. I'll link in the show notes to like the Ravelry project page and the yarn and the pattern and stuff. And so I have been knitting for 7 days since with the week 1 video, and I've kept to a strict 1 movie stripe per day plan because the pace seems to be going really well for like the month plan to like get the sweater done in the month. This is the back, so I'll hold it up. This will be the back of the cardigan, and I did the first 3 stripes in that first week that I had in my last video. So I did 4 more stripes for the back, and then started the front. I considered doing the front 2 at a time because if I was just knitting it normally, I think I would do the front 2 at a time. The left and right fronts together at the same time because I like doing sleeves 2 at a time, that kind of thing. But I thought the plan for the stripes would look cooler because I wanted kind of like a more color blocky vibe instead of stripy. Like I wanted like really wide stripes. So it's more of like a color block. So this is the right side. And I got my wide stripes. And last night I was doing the last one, and I totally spaced on the neck shaping, needing to start like an inch before the armhole shaping. So I went right up to the armhole shaping, realized my mistake, had to frog an inch and get back on track. So I probably would have finished the front if I hadn't made that mistake because it's so narrow. But I measured and I have 4 inches remaining, so I think that's enough to like do another movie. It'll be a short movie. It'll be like half or a third or a quarter of a movie because it's so small. But it doesn't seem like I don't want to bring the yellow all the way up to the top because that'll be like so much yellow. So I do want to add another little small stripe there. So I'm going to do that. So this front isn't quite done, but it's very close. The bottom stripe is like extra narrow. I think I might have been a bit distracted during that movie, probably. So it's like is more narrow than it should be. So I kind of let it be that way on purpose because then on the other stripe, I'll knit it up higher and then the stripes will be misaligned with each other. So the color blocking on the other half will hopefully kind of go to different places than the first half. And I'll start with a different color too. So that's my plan for the fronts. Besides that one little error of having to frog an inch, everything is going well. I am making a little bit of adjustment to the pattern to make it a little bit shorter because the yarn that I have isn't quite as much yardage as I need. So I'm cutting off a couple of inches of the length so that hopefully my yarn will make it. I'm also planning on shortening the sleeves a little bit to be like slightly shorter sleeves for that reason. So we'll see how that goes. Worst case scenario, I have to like do the button band in a different yarn or something, if I run out. But I'll make it work. And the button band's pretty narrow, so that probably won't happen. So because of making it shorter, I kind of like had to adjust some of the shaping. There's like a little bit of waist shaping, a little bit of decreases and increases, and I had to like do a little bit fewer rows between the increases to like make the length that I wanted it to be. But that all worked out, and yeah, it's going well. So I'll tell you what movies I watched at each stripe. I tried to have a good variety of different kinds of movies, different decades and stuff. So the first one, which was this green stripe, was a movie called Mayhem from 6 or 7 years ago. And I had heard, I think a horror YouTuber talked about it and called it like a very anti-capitalist horror movie, which made me interested, and I was excited to watch it. And it, like, sure, it's that, I guess. It wasn't really for me. I didn't enjoy it very much. It was hyper violent. Like, it had that like over the top, ridiculous level of extreme violence, which in some movies, in some contexts, like, I'm not like anti-violence in movies if it serves a purpose. Whatever. Obviously, I like horror movies. In this one, it was just like, okay, get it. And then it also, I love Samara Weaving, and Ready or Not is one of my favorite horror movies. Her character was kind of like horror version of Manic Pixie Dream Girl, which is like pretty eye-rolly. Not a fan of this one. Some people really like it though, so maybe you like it. I didn't think it was trash. It wasn't for me. So the next one I watched, which would have been this Yellow Stripe, was VHS Beyond, which is the brand new, like, just came out. I think I might have watched it the day it came out, just because we were looking for what to watch, and it was up at the top, so we were like, oh, let's do this. It came out on Shudder, horror streaming app, and it's the new one in the VHS franchise. So if you don't know, the VHS franchise is all anthology horror movies, so it means it's like short films, like 5. I think this one had 5. I think that's pretty standard. I've only seen a couple of them. I heard people say that this was like one of the best ones, so that's why I wanted to watch it. I'm not always into like anthology horror if they're just like okay, but people said this one was really good. So like I said, it had like 5 short films. There were 2 of them that I did really like a lot, and then there were 2 that were just kind of fine. I liked okay, and then there was one that I really disliked a lot. So I guess that ratio is like pretty good. It's like on the better. It's like one of the better ratios, I think, for like the VHS movies. So all the VHS anthology movies usually have like a theme. I think a lot of them have like a year, like it all takes place in the same year. But this one has like a sci-fi theme, so it's like a very alien heavy kind of sci-fi, tying it all together and tying although one of them I felt like is actually the one that I disliked quite a lot, was the one that felt kind of out of place. It didn't really fit with the other 4, I thought. Personally, not for me. But yeah, so if you like alien sci-fi horror, I think it's pretty fun. Next, I watched C.H.U.D, which is an 80s, again, like sci-fi-ish horror. It's I don't think I'd really heard of it, but my partner remembered liking it when he was a kid, or like a teenager. I think he saw it and he remembered it being fun, so he got us the DVD a while ago. It's been sitting there for a while, and I had like pretty low expectations going in. I was not expecting it to be a masterpiece or anything. So going in with those low expectations worked for me, because I ended up really enjoying it. Really is a stretch maybe. Like, I ended up enjoying it. I liked it. I had a good time. It's like, it's not a comedy. Like, it's taking itself seriously, but it's totally ridiculous. The monster creatures look silly. It's all practical effects, obviously 80s, kind of lower budget 80s, So it's very silly, but not in like a silly comedy, just like silly, serious. Anyway, I thought it was fun. I don't know. I thought it was more fun than some other 80s horrors that I've seen that have bored me more, Like I wasn't too bored by this. So if you like ridiculous 80s horror sci-fi, C.H.U.D. Oh, and so the stripes, so that C.H.U.D would have been the blue, and I think it was like a shorter movie, and also I think I might have not been too super hyper focused on watching it and knitting. I might have, gone on my phone a little bit during C.H.U.D, because it was that kind of movie. It's the kind of movie you don't want to be paying 100% attention to, So the next one, the top one, but this would be my favorite movie out of all the seven I did this week. It's called Onibaba, and it's a Japanese movie from the 60s. It's a Criterion movie. So Criterion Collection does these YouTube video series, Criterion Closet picks, where they'll have people, actors and directors and stuff who are like promoting movies will come on to talk about their favorite Criterion movies. And I think a few different people in videos that I watched chose Onibaba. So that's how it became on my radar as something I wanted to check out. And I have Criterion Channel, so I had it in my watch list. So I've been meaning to check it out for a while. We finally did for Horror Month, and it was really good. It's really cool black and white cinematography, like visually very cool. Good story, very much commentary on patriarchy and war and what those two things do to people and choices they have to make because of those. So yeah, that one was great. Definitely recommend that if you like that kind of thing. Weird, interesting, kind of progressive, good stuff. Yeah. So that was, I think I kind of got up to here, like up to where the bind off would be during the movie, and then I just kind of finished the shoulder bits after the movie because I didn't want little 1-inch color at the top. So finished the back. I started the front. So the first movie of the front bottom, cast on ribbing stripe, was called In Fabric. It was a movie from maybe 6 or so years ago. I didn't quite click with it. It was visually very cool. It had a lot of shots and moments and scenes that were really cool looking. I enjoyed looking at. The movie as a whole, I didn't quite enjoy watching. I don't know, something about I wanted the story to be a bit more. I don't really know. I feel like on paper I should have loved it. It's about a haunted dress. It's just like kind of uneven. I don't know. I feel like I was on board with it for like some bits, and then I would just kind of like space out. Like, didn't quite like hold me in, you know? So maybe it's for you. It's visually it's cool. Next one, the second to last stripe here, was a brand new movie. It just came out. It's called It's What's Inside. It's more of a sci-fi. It's listed as horror. It's not very horror. So if you're not actually into horror, if you're into like more a little bit sci-fi, like soft sci-fi, you might be into it. If you like the movie Bodies, Bodies, Bodies from like 2 years ago, definitely check this one out. It has a lot of similarities to Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Personally, I don't think it's as good of a movie, but some people like it a lot and think it's better than I think it is. I think it had some problems. I think it's one of those movies that the best thing about it is the concept. It's a really great, excellent concept, and I wish it was better executed. I wish the script had lived up to the potential of the concept, personally. That's how I feel, but you might feel different and think it's great. I love the concept. And lastly, yesterday's a big stripe, another physical media, Oculus. It's from, I think it's 2013. And this is the second feature film of the director Mike Flanagan, who went on to do several features and then several series. Last year he did Fall of the House of Usher, and he did Midnight Mass before that, and then his first series was Haunting of Hill House, which I thought was really excellent. And then he's done a lot of movies like the Shining sequel, Doctor Sleep, and Yeah, this was his second feature, which was a feature version of a short that he had done many years earlier before that. And something that's fun, the reason I'm giving a bunch of backstory is because something that he's done is this is about like a haunted mirror. And he put that mirror in almost everything else he's ever done. So it's fun to watch this and experience the mirror and then find it in all of his other things. The first two movies he did after this one, I think it's not in those two. But then everything after that, including the series, it's hidden in a room or an attic or a basement or a bar or an office. It's like a very visually interesting mirror. So that's fun. I had seen it when it first came out. I think it was on Netflix when it was new, like 2014 or something. And I think I must have been just like distracted. I used to watch a lot of movies like while working on knitting pattern designs, and I would like get distracted by the math and like taking notes and just kind of like not quite pay full attention to the movie. And then I look back and I'm like, did I see that? I know I remember seeing it, but I don't remember the movie at all. So that's what happened with this one. And I found it cheap on DVD, so bought it, and then I thought it would like come back to me as I was watching, and it was just like didn't come back to me. It was as if I had like never seen it. That happens sometimes. So it was good. I liked it. It's good, spooky, haunted house adjacent kind of, if you like that kind of thing, like family story of like the kid's childhood and then growing up and the trauma that happened when they were kids. So yeah, it's a fun one. I like it. The structure's great. There's still a couple of his that I haven't seen, so I'm planning on trying to squeeze those into my October movies, fill in the gaps of what I haven't seen by him. And that was the end of that. So like I said, I'm going to add the final 4 inches. So what I could do is like do the final 4 inches and then start the other side on the same movie. But like I said at the beginning, I want the stripe to be as wide as possible on the other half. So my plan is just to do a short movie, finish that up, and then start fresh with the bottom. And again, I'll try to do like a variety of different kinds of movies. And I'm hoping to come back next week with the full other side. And then maybe start the sleeves too. And the sleeves, I am planning on doing the sleeves 2 at a time, I think. I might change my mind. I think because of yardage purposes, though, I think it would probably be best to do it 2 at a time. And for shaping. So what that'll mean is the stripes will align with each other for where the color changes are placed, but I'll do different colors. So I'll start the stripe sequence in a different place and then see how my yarn is stretching and decide how long to make them. So that's my plan. And again, if you have anything you like, any questions or anything you want me to talk about in a future video, I'll leave it in a comment. And I'll put links to everything in the description I talked about and stuff. And I'll see you back here in a week. Hello! I said that like Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello! I'm gonna start over.